Have you ever heard your parents or grandparents use the phrase, they don't make them like they used to? Well, believe it or not, they may actually be onto something. The concept of planned obsolescence, also known as intentional obsolescence, has taken over the marketplace and has led to products being made much lower in quality than how they used to be manufactured. It has become quite clear to anyone who has shopped in stores over the course of their lives that things truly are not made the way that they used to be. This is quite frustrating for buyers who are under the impression that the product they're investing in is worthy of their consumption. One demographic that this can be particularly frustrating for is college students. College students do not have money to the extent that the working force does, so having to repurchase things that are of low quality can be very frustrating. In order to truly grasp an understanding of planned obsolescence, information will be presented regarding what exactly this concept is, how businesses go about implementing this strategy, and whether or not there's a solution within the market at all. You may ask, why is this even relevant? The concept of planned obsolescence has actually allowed consumers to understand why the quality of the products we consume has lessened over time. I specifically am a marketing major with a concentration in digital marketing, and this concept has helped me significantly in breaking down the evolution of marketing through deepening my understanding of how planned obsolescence changes markets. So what is this concept? MakeUseOf.com's article, What is Planned Obsolescence?, explains this concept as being a marketing strategy used by businesses to increase sales over time. Brian O'Reilly of Circular Glass Glow explains that this term was coined by Bernard London in his pamphlet, Ending the Depression. London's initially well-intended idea of planned obsolescence would have the government impose illegal obsolescence, which would encourage consumer purchases at a greater rate within the country to improve the country's economy. London's concept actually aided in bringing the United States out of the Great Depression in 1932, so it was very successful. Another way to think of this in simpler terms is that planned obsolescence really is an artificial expiration date. It creates an artificial need that can only be met with additional purchases and guarantees companies will continue producing their products. One specific example of planned obsolescence is the way that printers are made. So printers are manufactured with microchips that are programmed to alert the printer whenever an ink cartridge is low, to then alert the consumer that the ink cartridge is done. So this leads the consumer to believe that they need to go out and buy an ink cartridge right away, but in reality, it's actually a premature purchase that encourages them to purchase at a greater rate. Businesses implement this strategy in many ways, one including that they design products to fail. So appliances are not made to be repaired anymore, which allows businesses to say you're better off just getting a new one altogether, which then forces the consumer to, of course, buy a new product. An example of this is the difference in how cars are made 40 years ago compared to how cars are made now. Older cars used to have a longevity that exceeds that of current day vehicles by far. Cars are no longer made to be fixed piece by piece, but to be fixed as a whole so that it's cheaper for the consumer to just purchase a new one. Perceived obsolescence is another way that companies go about implementing planned obsolescence. This concept makes customers feel like the products that they own are out of date and no longer meet their needs. So each new thing that a company makes is made to look comparatively superior to the older versions. One example includes technology updates. So technological updates are programmed specifically to be incompatible with older software. These updates often include new features that look much more superior in design compared to older versions, which of course encourages the consumer to want the newest version that looks way better than the older one. So is there even a solution to this, or is it just too far gone? Theoretically, the solution lies in the everyday choices of consumers. So one way it would be for consumers to shop more intentionally and buy less frivolously. This would mean avoid buying things just to keep up with the latest trends. Consumers would also need to shop for quality, which would mean buying maybe the more expensive product that'll last longer, and by shopping for products that can be repaired and are not made to be disposable. Customers would also need to be more mindful of using recyclable goods, including hand-me-down clothes and other secondhand goods that can be implemented in everyday life. In conclusion, planned obsolescence is a marketing strategy that businesses use to increase their sales over time. They achieve this marketing strategy through designing products to fail from day one and through perceived obsolescence. The solution would theoretically lie in the everyday choices of consumers, but that is very much so up for debate. Planned obsolescence is a foreign concept to most consumers, but is absolutely very real and very prevalent within the market. With this newly learned knowledge about planned or intentional obsolescence, next time your parents have a broken appliance or experiencing car troubles, you'll know that they really are onto something when they say that things are not made the way that they used to be.